Hey guys, for this program we're going to discuss about how to create an array of objects. Now, what is an array? An array is a collection of elements of similar data type. You might have seen arrays in C, arrays of integers, of floats, arrays of characters, which are strings, and a whole bunch of arrays. Now, coming to C++, which is an object-oriented language, we can have one more type of arrays, which are arrays of objects. Now, one concept that you have to keep in mind is that class is not only the blueprint of the object, but it is also a collection of, data types. So, let's just say we have a class here, class student. Now, whatever you write between these two are, class fields like int, float, double, and then you go ahead with functions, getter and setter functions, right? Now, what are these? These are data types. But what is a class? A class is a collection of these data types, which in itself is a user-defined data type. So a class is a user-defined data type. And hence, when class is a data type, it can also have an array. So it can have an array of objects, which are of the type class. So yeah, as you can see, I'm using a new compiler because I had issues with input in the last one. So in this, it's the same thing. What we're going to deal with now is a student details system. We're going to have student marks, student name, and student roll number. So I've written the class student and long int roll number, maybe long int roll number, not float but char name. I'm taking a an array of characters for name, and then this is for his marks, right? So int marks out of 100. Now let's take a getter function. I'll tell you what a getter function and setter function is. So let's take a set details function. Void set details, and the next thing would be void display as output function, and that's it. So we have three class fields, that is roll number, name, and marks, and then we have two methods. And as you know, we have to have public so that main can have access to this class and its variables. So once you do that, we're going to define the class functions now. That is set void student colon the initializer set detail. Uh, okay. Once we've done that, let's just define it. We're gonna have a roll number, name, and marks, right? So let's just take a simple enter name, enter roll number, and then maybe an endl, so that we'll take a cn of the roll number and roll, and then two more things like this for name and what else? Marks. Yep. Enter name, and then we're going to store that in name, and enter marks. We're going to store that in marks. Cool. Once that is done, this class function is almost done. So this is something called setter function, which sets all the class fields for a given object. Alright, now once you've done that, let's just define the other function, that is the details function. Display the details, right? And this, we're just gonna see out everything. Roll number Okay, sorry. And roll number is what? ROL. Yep. And the next thing would be name. And name. The third one would be marks. And marks, right? That's a simple definition of this function, and it's done. And once you've done that, we're just gonna go ahead to the main, and let me give myself some space here. Alright, you can go to the main and then declare the objects. Now we need an array of objects, right? So we're gonna do class student s, and let's just take 3 student details. So s and those brackets and 3. S square brackets 3 is uh, an array of class student having the variable s as the object and having 3 elements in that array. So class student is the data type, and s is the variable, and 3 is the number of elements in the array, in common language, that is. Now in the original language, this is the class, this is the student, the name of the class, and this is the objects. So this is how you declare an array of objects. So once you're done with that, we're gonna have to invoke the getter uh, functions. So for that, we have to write int I is equal to 1, I is less than or equal to 3, and I plus plus. Once you've done that, inside this, you're just gonna invoke the get details function. Once that is done, we're gonna go ahead and yeah, that's it. The for loop is done. It's over. And we can copy the same for loop for display. So why do I have different for loops? One is for entirely getting all the details, and the second is for entirely showing all the details. So once the display is done, uh, you can have a fancy display here saying student data is student data, and once that is done, uh, that's it. You're going to end that function and return 0, and yep, the program is done. So let me run that, and you'll be getting it here. It says get details. There's no such thing as get. Okay, that's a set function, right? My bad. Set details, right? Run. So I'm entering the roll number 1 2 3 4, entering my name, marks 89, roll number 4321 this time, enter, and Sunil, and marks are 96, roll number 8789, name is Anil, marks are 79. So there you go. Student data, roll number, name, marks. And again, it just keeps repeating student data, student data, student data for each and every student's actual data. So there we go. That's how you define an array of objects. And the code will be given to you and it's really simple. You have to apply yourself and then write the code, and the way that you write the code is up to you. But for getting the array of objects, you gotta use the class name, the object name, and in square brackets the number of elements in the array of objects that you want. That's about it. And for accessing them, you have to use the for loops and just use SFI. That's really about it, and it's a very simple concept.